wanted to.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lunch with Linda. I am Linda Daniels, and you are now inside Northampton Wools. I want to say hello and thank you to everybody who joins us. I know some of you are able to join us live, either here on Facebook or YouTube, and some of you watch later on. And I love that. You can type in, I think, comments on Facebook anyway, that you are watching later. And that just lets me know that people have tuned in and are watching it. I get it. I just really appreciate that you watch it whenever you have time. And that's one of the reasons why we put it up on YouTube, so that it is available for a long time, forever probably, and you can watch it whenever it's convenient. We have a lot of customers that come in. I have said this before, and it's always a little bit of a thrill for me, and I must admit, a bit of a surprise when strangers come in and tell me that they watch the show. I am so very, very pleased and happy about that. And this week, we had a couple of people not connected. They came in at different days and different times, but it was kind of a thrill because it might have been one of their first times actually in the store. And when they came in, they said, "Oh, is that the table? Is that where you sit?" They did.
Aww.
So we switched it up a little bit. I just turned around for better light today, because even though it's a bright day out there, it's also kind of cloudy. They seem to be drifting by. So anyway, I really appreciate all of your encouragement and support and all of your attention. So thanks for watching. And like I said, you don't have to make a comment. Kate is on board today watching comments for me, because I am a little bit too far to actually read them. But if you have a question or want to say something, please do. It helps with the popularity and who gets shown this, who doesn't necessarily follow us or subscribe to us on YouTube. So we are smack dab in the middle of Shop Hop. This is the last week. It ends on Saturday. Most of the stores are closed today, and then everybody will be open tomorrow through Saturday. There are still bags out there. If you go to the I-91 Shop Hop Facebook page, you'll be able to find a list of stores and be able to call them to see who has them. I know some of the farther shops, or the further out shops, Nitty Gritty Yarn Girl, Knits and Pearls, and Simsbury Yarns, they all have bags left. I have 2 bags left, actually. 2 bags left. I know Rachel is sold out at U&I or U&U, and check around before you go looking for them. But there's still plenty of time to do it. There's basically Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 5 more days of daily door prizes at each shop. So if you visit 3 shops in one day, you get entered 3 times, once in each shop, and you can possibly win a door prize at that shop. And then if you do visit all 13 shops, you will get entered in the grand prize drawing. It's been a lot of fun. So far, we have seen a lot of hoppers, as we so affectionately call them, and people are always very supportive and having a lot of fun doing it. We've seen all kinds of people, some doing it by themselves, some doing it with groups of friends, some even travel from down south or out west just to do this every year. So we're really happy and appreciative to have them joining us for all of that. In fact, if you are in Connecticut, Rachel Schuster from the UNU was on one of the morning news programs on Channel 3. We're trying to find out if we can get a recording of that and see what she had to say, but I can't wait to hear about how that went, how that interview went. So there's lots of publicity out there this year, and we're really very happy with how it's going so far. We are about to enter the week that is nationally known as Granny Square Day. That is Thursday, August 15th. And I did a little bit of research. So first of all, we have rehung the giant granny square that we made a couple of years ago that completely takes up one of the windows. We didn't hang it fully in the window this year. It is just hanging on a bar, but you can take a look at it then. There. And we are doing a Learn to Make a Granny Square class on Saturday, the 17th, which is this Saturday, from 12 to 3. And I did a little bit of research about the history of Granny Square, and I want to make sure I get it right. Because just like knitting, there are types of knitting that we think must be ancient and are really not. They're really relatively new. Like Fair Isle and Aran knitting really didn't even become popular until the late early 1900s, some as late as 1940. Granny Squares, the first Granny Square, was actually published on April 5th in 1885 in a little leaflet called The Prairie Farmer. And a woman whose name we only know as, I didn't write it down. It was just Mrs. something. I didn't write it down. Anyway, she put a little article in the Prairie Farmer, talking about how she crocheted using scraps and made this lovely little square. So it's done in the round. So Granny Squares have been around since then, and it was a resourceful way to use up the leftover bits and pieces. Because if you know Granny Squares, you know that it doesn't take a lot of each yarn to make a Granny Square. And in the 60s, the 50s and 60s and 70s, more likely, it actually became a real symbol of the counterculture. We really used, and I'm saying we because I'm part of that generation, we used the Granny Square to really make a statement in our fashion. How many of you remember doing a Granny Square, kind of like it would be called a tank top, where the front and back were just one giant Granny Square with some straps on it? Now they're all over the place. There's one crocheter that I follow who is making tons of bralettes, doing a Granny Square diamond with some Granny Square stitches underneath it. And everywhere you look, it seems like somebody's coming up with some new use for Granny Squares in fashion, even some of the biggest names. And it used to be that kind of craft where we all had it as an Afghan on top of the sofa in our grandparents' or parents' living room, done traditionally in multicolor, but with the black outline and background. And if you look back at sitcoms from the 70s and 80s, and even the 90s, when the sitcom is set in a traditional middle-class living room, inevitably there is a Granny Square blanket on the back of the sofa. Well, they've come a long way. What?
Her name was Mrs. Phelps.
Mrs. Phelps, thank you.
No first name given.
That's right. There was no first name, and I did not write down Phelps, thinking that my brain would remember. Nope. The Granny Square stitch is traditionally just 3 double crochets. And in crochet, there are a few basic stitches, and it's kind of like saying that knitting is just made up of knits and purls. But there are thousands of combinations. And the same with crochet. This is a traditional looking Granny Square that I'm beginning to sew these pieces together. I've done these colorful ones out of leftover cotton that I had from store samples. And I'm actually making 2 front panels for a cardigan, but I only sewed them lengthwise. I didn't yet sew them horizontally.
That's gonna be fun.
And so it's gonna have 2 front panels, and then the rest of the sweater, the back and the sleeves, are gonna be straight double crochet. Granny Squares, you can't really see it, but it's really fun to do. The problem is that there's 1,000,001 ends that you have to weave in.
Can't you crochet over that?
I can. And you do a little bit of work to get rid of them so they don't poke out all over the place. But in addition to Mrs. Phelps doing it, it's named Granny Square actually came because it was the stay-at-home nanas and grandmas, mimis and whatever name you called them, who were doing those little household chores or making the things for the home. And so it came from the fact that it was our older generation of women who were making them, and the name stuck. It really doesn't mean anything about, it's not related to the stitch or how you do it. It's just a name that stuck. So I thought that was interesting, even just that it was not that old. 1819. Oh. It's not. It's 100. It's less than 125 years old. Right around there. Is that the math?
No, I missed
Get
it.
your.
No, I missed what you were doing the math about.
Oh, about just how old the Granny Square is. It's not that old.
So if it was 1985 would be 100 years. So that's
95 and then 25. Yeah. Okay, 130 years old. Okay, so here's the important thing that I wanted to say. Now I just forgot it again. Oh, nuts.
Oh, Renee Brockett just said that she has a Granny Square blanket from her great-grandmother and her grandmother, made for college.
Sweet.
Iconic.
Talk about connection.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing, and maybe you didn't realize this. Crochet cannot be machine made. So every single piece of crochet that you see, whether it's a Granny Square or lace, is done by hand. There is no machine that can duplicate a crochet stitch. So everything, every single piece of crochet has been hand done. Most of it is, done in smaller projects. You don't necessarily see a lot of sweaters, but when you go into a shop and it does have crocheted sweaters, those were hand done. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole, they probably weren't paid, because we know that they probably weren't paid anywhere near what the value of that is. But the other thing is that Taylor Swift dress that has popped up all over social media, where I had my very first look at one in the wild. She came in on Saturday morning wearing her Taylor Swift dress, and we had one done. So I took a picture of the both of them together. I was able to figure out how to share that on the I-91 Shop Hop Instagram page, and Kate is going to post it on our page later on. So it was a lot of fun to have that young woman wearing it and standing next to the one that I had made for the shop in almost the same exact colors. So celebrate those Granny Squares. And I have seen a lot of Granny Square blankets in my day, not only from my family, but because we do repairs here at the store, people will often bring them in. And the number one thing that happens is the seams break just from being covered up and stretched. And we've sewn them back. And I've seen Granny Squares made out of the most exquisite fibers in very small squares. Those are unbelievably delicate and beautiful. So you can make a Granny Square out of anything, from very, very fine yarn to very, very thick yarn, and get really different, really fun looks. So don't poo-poo the Granny Square. It has a place in our history, that is for sure. One of the things that I wanted to talk about was this pink sweater. Trendsetter Yarns very generously sent us a couple of items to show off for the 2 weeks during the shop hop, and this is one of them. This is called the Gemini striped pocket pullover. It has two really unique features. There's a pocket here, and there's this little slit of buttons that nobody really knows what they're for, except if you were a nursing mother, that you could easily unbutton them and get in there and still have some coverage. That's the only, it's not meant specifically for that, but that's the only thing that I can come up with. But it's really a beautiful sweater, and it has already sold in the store, the Yarn Fort, 3 times. It's done with the Gemini 100% cashmere that we've had in the store. And just before we got the sweater in, I put this yarn on sale. It was normally $50 a skein, and we marked it down to $32.50. It is on the website. We have the pink, we have the charcoal gray. We are sold out of the lighter gray that's in here, but we have black, and we have this bright, almost turquoisey blue, and some of the white. The colors that we have enough of to actually do a sweater are the pink, the black, and the blue, right?
Yep.
The white and the gray, we have less than 5 skeins of each. But the neat thing is that this body only took 6 skeins of this, because the yardage is incredible. It has 165 yards. It's meant to be knit on a size 7 needle at about 5 stitches to an inch. And like I said, it is 100% mulline cashmere. So you can take a look at it. You can look at this, what it feels like in a sweater. And I have to say, and I have found this to be the case over and over and over again with 100% cashmere, it does not ring true in the skein. This skein does not feel like this does. As soon as you knit it, you begin to release the fiber, if you will. You just having it go through your hands and around the needles stuffs a little more air in between the fibers and produces loft. And loft is one of the #1 things that creates softness in a fabric. So if you, we have this pattern in here, but if you want to do any other 5 stitches to an inch pullover that that the yardage will work out, like I said, we don't have a lot of it. We can probably order it for you if you want it, but it won't be on sale. If you want to grab it at the sale price, then 6 skeins will do this sweater, and it's a decent size. We've had several people put it on. It's finishing to at least a 40-inch bust. So I wanted to tell you that because it seems to be running out of the store as soon as we got the sweater in. The other sweater that we got, I'm going to ask Kate to put on. Can't really see it. This is a cardigan, also by Trendsetter Yarn, done with the Catanella. And the Catanella yarn, we match.
Oh, it's striping day today.
Yes.
Here,
so this is Catanella. We have the Catanella in stock, but this sweater takes 6 different skeins, 6 different colors, 1 skein of each. And we can get it as a kit. So yeah, show the back.
It's hard to stay in the camera.
You just don't look at the camera.
Okay, I'll just
So basically it's done in panels. So this is one color, and this is another color in a little ribbing stitch, picked up and knit this way. And then this panel is done separately. And then the sleeves are done with 2 different colors to create this really unique, almost faded stripe.
Like a double fade.
And then the fronts are also, this is a ribbing stitch, but done in 2 different colors. It's a great shawl color pullover. We've got that, we'll have the sweater here for another week.
And I love the shawl collar.
And it's cotton. It's 100% cotton.
I love
Super
it.
easy to knit. In kit form, so you don't even have to try to put colors together. Drop sleeves, so the construction is really, really interesting. If you are interested, let us know.
So
And I think I'm going to order the kit anyway so that we can have one knit here in the shop, because it's really, and Kate's in love with it. Obviously, we need to have one for her.
I've been in love with all of the cottons from that company.
Because we had the big shawl. Eileen knit a shawl for us that's hanging in the window that we didn't drop
I
down.
have the shawl, and the minute the temperature went down to 70, I was like, give me that shawl, because I've been wanting coziness.
Yes.
And this is just so cozy that I think I might need to make one.
And so soft. I mean, it's soft in a different way because it's cotton, so you get no itch at all.
Yeah,
and still machine washable if you wanted to throw it in the machine. So I just wanted to show you those 2 new sweaters.
Maybe I'll just keep wearing
So I'm so happy that so many of you have jumped on Small Project August and have joined us. And if you have, And if you are on Facebook, join our Northampton Wools group because people are showing their small projects there. This is the Stephen West Dustland, which I did finish. And I wanted to share that with you. So this is the thickest, the widest part of it. And it's just the same 4 if you count garter stitch, the same 4 stitch patterns over and over and over. So both sides are exactly the same. And like I told you last week, he wrote it for a DK weight and a lace weight mohair, used at the same time, and I did not do that. I did it just in a DK weight in one of Adrian's hand-dyed yarns, because I think it really shows up the stitch pattern really nicely. So I finished that, and some of you are doing that and have showed it to me. Eileen, I think, finished hers, I bet, because Eileen's was coming out really nicely too. It's just a little bit warm for today.
It's a day for cotton.
Yes. And then I also did this Alpaca 3 hat. Now I've done this hat before. I love that top. Look at that. Beautiful pinch. It's a simple little slouch hat. And it's done on size 8. So that it has some give, some hugginess. And a size 10 needle. And the pattern is free. And I did it out of 1 skein of the Alpaca 3. This is a yarn from Isager, which we have had, we had it through the winter, but it's such a nice yarn. And when I originally did this hat, the vineyard hat, with a skein of this yarn, and within 3 weeks, sold the hat. So it's like this. It's a 50-50 alpaca and merino wool. That's in a chainette, what we call a chainette, which means it looks like it was already crocheted. It's not strands of yarn woven together. You're not really going to see it that well on the camera, but it makes it very, very light and fluffy. I was talking about air before. This has a ton of air already in it just because of the construction. And so when you knit with it on the size 10 hat, you get a very light, almost weightless feel to the hat. And yet the alpaca and the wool, there's no acrylic or poly in it, are really very warm. And it's a simple roll bottom edge. You can see the alpaca, when you look at this hat closely, you can see the little hairs of alpaca sticking out. So it's really a fun, simple project. I mean, you can make this in a weekend, if not less. And we've still got some great colors and a lot of stock on it. This is on the website. And what's the most ridiculous part of this is that it's only $12 a skein. I mean, come on. For $12, you can make a great hat. If this is a navy blue, this is like a army blue, cadet blue they call it, a soft yellow, an off-white,
heather gray.
Yeah, it's not really gray, taupey. It's a taupey kind of color leading towards gray. And then we have 2 oranges.
Yum.
Very, very delicious looking. 1 skein, $12. We'll give you the hat pattern free when you buy it. What a great small project for August, because like I said, size 8 needle. I use the size 10 needle for about the first 2 inches, and then the rest is a size 10. And it's a dramatic fast decrease. And that's what gives you this real nice gathered, puffy kind of top. So and it helps the slouch as well.
So you still use a smaller needle at the beginning, the size 8.
But it's just stockinette stitch.
Knitting. Okay, and then 10 going into the body. Nice.
Thanks, Laurie. Thanks for sharing that. And then, along in small project August, Brianna worked this weekend and I stole this off her neck. I promised to give it back. But Brianna made this wonderful little shawl and it's perfect for summer. This pattern is the summer net shawl. And again, we have it printed out, but it is a free pattern on Ravelry. It must come from Malbrigo because there's no designer name on it, but summer net shawl, lots of yarn overs, and Brianna did it with one of the Beat Street yarn kits that we have, and these are still 20% off. So there are great fun colors like that, and these were $47, so 20% off brings it under 40. It's like $38 or something like that. And we've got one, we have several of these kits left. One in just blues with a little white, very summery, especially if you're like an ocean on the beach yacht person. And then, is this the same one? Yeah, that's the same one. But then there's this one too. Really beautiful.
Interesting mix of like pastel but vibrant.
Yeah, deep enough colors. So this is one of those kits, but that summer net, and it's done on size 9 needles. So that's gonna go very quickly as well. There's still time to finish this and wear it for Labor Day.
Oh, totally.
Really fun, beautiful little scarf. Little scarf shawl. So thanks, Brianna, for letting me take this right off your neck and say, we need it. All right, one more thing. And that is this. You've been hearing me talk about the wool pellets from Western Mass Fiber Shed and now Bloom. Lisa was here. She brought, I said, what are you doing talking about this and you've not brought me some. So she brought 6. We're down to 4. These are the wool pellets that are made by a special machine that Western Mass Fiber Shed has purchased. And Lisa took her trash yarn, basically, trash fleece is basically what it is. The stuff that's too coarse, that cannot be spun, the stuff that's too dirty and won't clean up, and used to just end up in a landfill. Now it can be processed into these wool pellets. Let me read to you what it says. It is a high nitrogen soil amendment addition that slowly compost, releasing nutrients as they complete the regenerative soil to soil cycle. Used in the garden, on potted herbs and vegetables, and in your houseplants year round. Simply work into the soil as you are planting or sprinkle on the soil surface. Also works as a pest deterrent. So it is made from salvaged waste wool and from farms in Western Mass. It's a 1 pound bag. That's a lot of pellets. I don't think you don't need to cover, or completely coat the surface. If you sprinkle a few of them there, you're going to get the benefit of those wool pellets. We've got 4 1 pound bags left right now, and we'll continue to restock that as Lisa makes her way down here and gets more and more of the pellets to sell. So that's everything. I'm just double checking. That is everything for today. I'm just going to give you a little tease. We've got a brand new sock yarn on its way, shipping, and should be arriving this week from Sweet Georgia. So we can't wait to welcome them back into the shop. And I'm like biting my nails waiting for the new Lane magazine for fall and a number of their new books. But I will let you know as soon as they come. I can't wait. And we just got in another big restock of the Hardy Homestead in colors. I can't remember now if I had them last week, but let's see if I can find Kate.
There was a person that came in and loved the green so much that she bought
We bought
all
it.
of
She bought it
them
all.
that we had. So we reordered for you guys.
Yeah, that stuff is beautiful. And that's the boyfriend sweater. But I can't really move this.
Like Vanna White.
Yes. Okay, so there's the boyfriend sweater. That is the design I did for Plymouth Yarn. And if you haven't noticed yet, there are an awful lot of single pocket sweaters coming out this fall. Maybe you've seen them in ready to wear. Oops. Okay. Holy cow.
I know, because I moved this thing, but you can still see.
All right. So I'm so happy that you guys are loving Small Project August. If you don't know what to do, come on in and we will help you find something and pick something out. And in the meantime, it's just the middle of August. There's lots of knitting time left. And this is my favorite time of year, when the heat seems to have kind of softened a bit. And the nights are almost chilly. These are perfect shawl nights. So I hope you guys find some time this week to go and knit something. Bye.